Alright guys, this is going to be a video on how to fill, punch a Cartomizer and put it in a tank. So I'm going to do this the best I can. I have my iPad here, so we'll just do this the best we can. So when you get your Cartomizers, Julie, it's going to come in a box like this. There'll be 5 of them in there. So I got one right here. So it comes in this plastic wrap, okay? So we're gonna take the plastic off. Give me a second. Now, all the Vogue ones come without holes in it for a tank. So here's the Cartomizer. So basically, this Cartomizer is gonna go inside of this tank here. All right. So what I got to do is I'm matching it up, and what I'm doing is looking. See if I can use this here. Right about at the edge here, you want to poke 2 holes, one on each side of the Cartomizer, because what happens is then when you fill this tank up, the juice feeds into the Cartomizer. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Cartomizer, so by looking at this, I can tell I need to poke the holes right about above this bottom condom, okay? So I'm going to take this outside. And they do have Cartomizer punching tools you can use for this, but I personally just use a nail and a hammer, okay? So here's the Cartomizer. I put it on my vise here. I have just a really sharp end screw here. So what I'm going to do is very lightly, I'm just going to tap a little hole here, okay? And I'm going to spin it around, and I'm going to tap, I'm going to tap a second hole. So I'll show you this when I'm done with these holes in it. Hopefully this works out. Okay, so now I have 2 holes in here. Okay, let's go back inside. Alright, so now if you look, where's the camera? Oh, I punched 2 little holes in here. Let me take this rubber off. So see what I mean? Okay, so now I took a nail and a hammer, and I punched 2 holes in this. So now, if you look, it'll sit right about like that, so those holes are going to be, I can't do this camera thing, right above the edge of this cap here, okay? So, now what we're going to do is fill up this Cartomizer. So let me figure out how I can do this. Got a bunch of baby toys here on my table because we're having a baby. Alright, so let's see if this works here. I gotta check the camera angle. Oh man, this is not working out too hot. Okay. Stay iPad. Stay iPad. Come on. Okay. So hopefully you can see this. I can't really tell because the camera's on the other side. So what I'm going to do now, you got your Cartomizer here with the 2 holes punched. Take off this top rubber cap here, okay? And you'll notice inside here there is this stuffing material, okay? And down the center there's a hole. Now when you're filling this with juice, you want to get it down the sides around that stuffing. You don't want to get the juice in the middle of the hole, okay? So you're going to drip 2 or 3 or 4 drops, okay? And you're going to continually fill this Cartomizer, 2 or 3, 4 drops. This is going to be kind of long, so just bear with me, okay? Can't really speed it up. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm dropping 2 or 3 in and I'm blowing. So eventually when this gets full, a little bit of juice is going to come out these holes. I'll show you that in a sec. I did another video on this, but I just figured I'd do an all-in-one for you. I'd like you to have a good vaping experience, and I don't like those C2 things either, so maybe this will help. So I'm just going to fill this Cartomizer 2 or 3 drips at a time around the edges. As you can see now, it's getting kind of wet around this stuffing material, whatever, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to continue to do this for 20 some drops maybe, and I'm blowing because what I'm doing is I'm shoving the juice down into the Cartomizer at a quicker rate. So you could just not blow in it and let it sit, but it takes a while. So when you blow, it makes it fill the stuff in quicker. Because the key to a Cartomizer tank is to make sure your Cartomizer's full before you start vaping. Otherwise, basically that coil's touching that stuffing, and without juice, it's just going to burn. So you want to make sure this is nice and full. Alright, trying to hurry this up. So sometimes a little bit of juice is going to spit out the bottom. Basically, you can hold a piece of paper towel on the bottom so you don't get it everywhere. But you're going to want to keep doing 2 or 3 drips around the edges here until you start to see juice coming out these bottom holes that you just punched with a nail, okay? Seems like kind of a lot of work, but once you're set up, it's good. Okay. Couple more. Once again, make sure you buy the XL Cartos, okay? Because most tanks you're going to come across are going to be XL size. I don't want you to be confused. Because at least if you get an XL Carto and you have a regular size tank, it'll still work. Alright. Just starting to get a little juice out here, so give me a sec. So I'm still blowing. Okay. Now, I do have another video on just how to fill a Cartomizer, if you want to check it out. I'll post some links for you. Okay, so now, I don't know how you're going to see this because I can't watch, but now these holes, there's juice starting to kind of come out these holes, okay? So what I'm going to do is put a couple more drops in, just to make sure it's nice and full. If any gets down the middle, don't worry about it, because you just blow it out. So when you're done and you think it's full and you start seeing juice coming out the holes, give it a couple blows, make sure there's nothing in the middle. Hear that? It's clean, okay? So now I'm going to grab this tank right here, okay? Now this is a Smoke Tech tank. This is one of the cheap ones, like that $6 one I posted for you. I do recommend, there's some higher expensive ones, like that IB Tanked one is a really good one. But so now what you're going to do is you have this empty tank. We want to put this Cartomizer inside of this tank, okay? So being that this is the cheap one, I'm going to take off the top cap, okay? Took off the top cap. I'm going to put my drip tip on my Cartomizer, and I'm going to push this into the tank, okay? Of course, it's going to give me trouble. Like I said, though, there are nicer tanks on the market than these cheap $6 ones, but what it comes down to is the fact that they're cheaply made, so sometimes the Cartomizers don't fit very well. So I would recommend going right away and buying the $30 one. But I really want to use this one, so I'm going to make sure it works, which it's being a real pain in the butt. Okay, so got your Cartomizer inside of your tank now, right? Sorry, this is just being a pain in the ass. Alright, now I have this Cartomizer inside of this tank. And if you look, those holes are right at the bottom. Because what's going to happen is once you fill this, as you're vaping, the juice will feed into that Cartomizer. So what you're going to do now that you have this in and it's empty, push the bottom out a little bit, okay? You're going to push the bottom out. Now, I hope you guys can see this. Now as you can see, I can pour juice into here. So now that I know my Cartomizer's full, I'm going to take the juice. I don't even know if you can see this. I'm going to pour down the side here. Fill up this tank. Okay. And now I'm going to push the Cartomizer back into the tank. Alright. So now I have a full Cartomizer inside a tank, and now I filled the tank with juice. So what's going to happen now is as you vape, you'll notice little air bubbles coming from these holes, okay? And them air bubbles is the juice feeding into that stuffing to keep it real nice and wet. So now you can put it on your device. Okay? good to go. So, that's how you fill a Cartomizer tank, punch it, everything. I do recommend, once you fill it like this, you know, I kind of vaped it right away, but I know I had it full. Sometimes it's not 100% full, so what you can do is, without pushing the button, give it a little, I call it a dry pull, and you'll see some bubbles coming into the tank, okay? The key is to not vape too early because you want to make sure that that Cartomizer inside is fully saturated. So I would even recommend after you fill it, set it down, leave it for, you know, an hour or so, let that juice kind of get in there, and then you're ready to go. Good. Okay, so that's it, Julie. If you have any questions, let me know, okay? Thanks a lot.